Hey guys, it's me Crystal from Marching North, and today I'm going to show you how to make this 3-color macrame plant hanger. Okay, to start you're going to take all of your long pieces of cord that are 160 inches long each, and you're going to find the center point and then mark that with your tape measure at 3 inches, and we're going to go 3 inches above that and below it. So we have a 6-inch section of cord that is going to be wrapped for our hanging loop. So I'm just marking the top of that with a piece of tape, and then that way we have a 6-inch section that's right in the center of our cords. So now we're going to take our piece of cord that's 53 inches long. By the way, the supply list is all down below. And you're going to hold it against where you just taped there, and we're going to start wrapping. And you're just going to have to hold that one piece in place for a little bit while we wrap. And I decided just to tape it down because it was kind of tricky to hold it while I was wrapping and not let it accidentally unravel. So if you want to do that too, you can, and we'll remove that tape in a minute. But now you're just going to continue wrapping. You don't want to overlap, just keep it one single layer, but don't leave any gap. And you're going to wrap until you get the 6-inch section all the way filled in. Okay, so now I've wrapped until I've gotten about a 6-inch section here. So now you're just going to take this and fold it into a loop. And I'm just taking the end here and I'm going to secure it under one of the loops at the bottom just to keep it from unraveling while I tie my wrapping knot. And then you can remove the tape off the other side and do the same thing on that side. Secure that end just by threading it through and tightening it to make a simple knot. Okay, now you're going to grab one of your 24-inch pieces of natural cord, and we're going to tie a wrapping knot right here at the base of our loop. So just hold it together and hold the piece of cord in front and make a U shape. And then you're going to take the long end and just wrap it around and try to keep it right at the base of your wrapped loop so that there's not really any colored cord showing. You're going to want to wrap around 7 times for this wrapping knot. Then you're going to find the loop that's at the bottom from where we made that U-shaped piece of cord and thread your end down through the little loop. Then pull the cord sticking up out of the top to bring the end up under the wraps about halfway. And then you're just going to cut off your excess cord. Take the end of your scissors and just poke the little ends down underneath the wraps to hide them. And now we're just going to pull on all the cords just a little bit to tighten everything up and make sure there's not any slack in our cord that is inside our wrapped loop. And I am also going to cut off the excess cord from our wrapping, from where we wrapped our loop that was sticking out. Just cut that off so it's hidden down there, and you can tuck any ends that might be sticking up underneath the wrapping knot. And now our wrapped loop is ready to go. We're going to hang it on our rack. Now you want to organize your cords so you have 2 of each color on all 3 sides. So just make sure you get them all organized. See, they're kind of in random places here. And we're going to do some square knots with the colored cord going around the natural cord. So here I have my orange or rust color, and I have my 2 natural colored cords on the side and my 2 orange ones. I'm going to tie 10 square knots using the orange cord as the working cords and going around the natural cord. So there's the first half of my square knot. And then I'm going to tie the second half. And if you don't know how to tie a square knot, I will link a video I have showing how to tie all the basic macrame knots. I'll put that down below and up in the corner probably. Continue tying square knots until you have 10 all together, and then I'll show you the next step. All right, now we got our 10 knots. So now we're going to switch the natural cords around behind the orange and to the outside. And then we're just going to tie 3 square knots with the natural cords going around the colored cords. And you just got to scoot this first knot all the way up and try to get it as close to the other knots as you can. And just pull the orange cords down to get any slack out. And once you get the 3 square knots done, we're going to do a section of spiral knots. Now we're going to do 10 right twisting spiral half knots. So you just start by doing the half of a square knot where you have the left cord in front as the L shape and then the right cord comes up behind. And instead of switching like you would with a square knot where you do the same thing on the opposite side, you just continue doing that same half of a square knot over and over again, and it'll twist. So just do that 10 times. Once you get those 10 half knots done, we're going to thread on a wooden bead. So you're going to grab your large whole wooden bead, mine's about 1 inch in diameter, and we're going to thread it onto the 2 colored cords in the center. And I'm just using a scrap piece of cord to thread my bead on. You just like loop it over your cord you want to put your bead on, and then thread these ends through, and it keeps you from fraying up the ends of your cord that you're threading onto. So that's a little trick you can do. You could also just tape the ends of your cord and thread them through, but this is a little quicker. And I'm just threading on my wooden bead, and you're going to slide it right up there to where the bottom of the knots are. And then we're going to tie 10 left spiraling square or half square knot underneath the bead. So you do the same thing you did before, but this time you're doing the other side of the square knot where you take the right cord and bring it in front of the middle cords in the reverse L shape, and just repeat that 10 times, and that will spiral in the other direction. Okay, now we're going to tie 3 more regular square knots with the natural colored cord under our spiral section. Now we're going to switch the orange back out to the outside and bring them up behind the natural colored cords. And you're going to tie 10 square knots using the colored cord for the working cords. Okay, now you're going to repeat that with the other 2 sections exactly the same way. All right, so now I've done the 3 sections just like we did for the first one, and now we're going to attach them. So we're going to take 2 arms and we're going to measure down about 5 inches and take the 2 cords from the right of one and the 2 cords from the left of the other and tie a square knot to link up those 2 sides. So just try to make sure you get it right about that 5-inch mark, or you can adjust it depending on the size of your plant pot. And get that first one right where you want it, and then you can use it to line up the others, and it'll be easier that way. You're going to make one more square knot underneath the first one, so we have 2 square knots stacked on top of each other for this section. And then we're going to repeat that around attaching the other sides of the arms of the plant hangers. So you'll do it 3 times all together. So here I'm moved around to the next side and I'm doing the same thing and just lining up these square knots with the first 2 to make sure everything's nice and straight. So just repeat that around, doing 2 square knots to attach each side, and there will be 3 sides all together. Now we're going to measure down about 3 inches from those first 2 square knots, and we're going to alternate our cords and do the same thing again. Just it's alternating from the knots up above this so that we are making a little hanging basket. And you're just going to tie 2 more square knots stacked on each other. And this time it'll be using the colored cords just because we're alternating. And you're going to repeat that around 3 times again. And we're almost done with our plant hanger. All right, now it's time for the last step. We're going to measure down about 3 inches, and I just kind of eyeballed it. And we're going to tie 1 more wrapping knot. So again, make that U shape and then just start wrapping, and you'll want your first wrap or the top of your wraps to be at about that 3-inch mark. Make 7 wraps and then feed the end through the loop at the bottom. Pull the cord at the top to bring the loop up under the wraps about halfway, and then cut off your ends and tuck them in. I always like to test fit my plant hangers before I cut the fringe. Once you see that everything's good, you can go ahead and cut it however long you want. I left maybe 5 or 6 inches, and your plant hanger is complete. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and if you did, please leave a like, comment, and be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of my future videos. Thanks for watching!